Alright guys, today we are going to be painting, well, this is the Blade Runner MK44 hand cannon that's been 3D printed, so you can see there's quite a few parts. I got the handle with the grips on the build plate now being printed. But today we are going to do some post-processing, and we are going to finish this thing up. So you see I used a bunch of different PLAs that I had and short reels of it, so I wanted to use it up. And yeah, I got one little piece here that I have to glue on, and then we are gonna get to it. So let's do it. I got a lot of cleanup to do. So you can see how big this thing is. Alright, let's go to work. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prime this whole thing. I'm giving this entire prop coat of primer. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to start doing some, well, a lot of sanding. But with the primer, and once I start hitting it with sandpaper, where I remove the primer, it'll really give me an idea of where I need to address with fillers and such. So I'll bore you no more. Alright, we got a coat of black primer on it, and now we can really see where we need to address. Yeah, where the two halves went together. Not so much there, that was also the two halves, but I see these lines here. I really want to address those, and yeah, let's do it. Alright, so what you're seeing now is my gray filler, which I'm using what they call squadron putty here. You can also use something that Body and Fender uses. It's called glazing putty. Squadron putty is pretty much the same as glazing putty. Don't let them fool you. This is gray. Most glazing putties are red or green. That's the same stuff. I recognize the smell. And I also recognize how when you're applying it with your finger, it pulls the primer up. Definitely a glazing putty. But the idea here is after you get it primed, you kind of hit it, scuff it a little bit. Of course, with this, you didn't need to scuff it. But this shows me where all the heavy print lines were at. And it's going to help me get rid of them. So, I'm going to give it a day to dry, but for you it'll just be a moment before I start to sand this. And after we get it all sanded down, we'll give it another coat of primer and we'll see where we stand. It's all prep work, and maybe tomorrow, sometime overnight, my handles will be done, but we'll work on those separately because they're going to be a different color altogether. Also, you see how these screws here were printed in on both sides, and here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but they are. I'm going to drill those out and put real screws in it because I think it'll add a nice little detail to it. So, yeah, stay tuned. Alright, what do you say we start doing some sanding? Got some little pieces here. I also have these little guys here that'll come in handy. Sanding emery strips, sandpaper. I don't want anything too rough because I'll just take my time. If I get it too rough, it'll take off too much plastic, and we don't want that, you know, because we want to make sure we don't start cutting into the plastic. I don't mind cutting through the putty and the primer. The idea is to have the putty stay in the low, the grooves or the low spots of our prop, and just try to level as much as possible, you know. So we'll see what happens. Put some eyeballs on here. I was a little concerned that this might be too rough of a sandpaper, but I guess not. But you know what? When you're sanding by finger, you don't really get a flat surface. So maybe I have an idea here. I have these great sanding boards, as you can see. This one's really rough. I'm not sure what grit these are, but this one here is probably too fine. This one maybe. Let's see here. May have to be hit again with some more filler. We'll see. After I get done sanding all my previous filler out, I'm going to prime it again. That really will let us see where we need to go as far as our prep work goes. Yeah, this is nice flat surface here. This. All right, I guess I'll just fast forward it right now. Still a little wet. All right, moving right along. Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, definitely a mistake. Well, I'm glad I didn't fast forward it. Because if you miss a little, you miss a lot. So I want to use these boards on the flat surfaces. And anything else, I can come back with that piece of loose sandpaper. You see right in here, you see how that's not, let me see if I can get you into focus here. You gonna focus? Right there. See right down in there how that putty's not coming out of those divots? That's what we're looking for. That way we know those are filled. So yeah, let me work on this, and before I spray it with more primer, we'll have a look at it. Alright guys, couple of things before I go any further, because I'm not done sanding yet. I'm about ready to go over to the sink and start doing some wet sanding. But I'm going to go ahead and drill out these fake screws right now, just so I know where they're at. I don't want to cover them with putty and guess where they might be. I guess I could go back and review the video, but I'm just going to take care of that right now. Because if I don't, let's see here. here are the screws that I plan on using. So let's see how this works. Tear it up. Huh. Yeah, that's a good bit. That is the bit to have. Let's try one more of those on this side. Then I'll remove them. Then I'll remove them and get back to work. Oh yeah, a much better look. I think they need to be countersunk. That's what we'll do. All right, let me go wet sand this. All right, this is all wet sanded. Let's go give it another coat of primer. All right, I think we're good there. Now it's all going to be weathering. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Yeah. Anyway, it's wet, so I'm going to let it dry 24 hours, and then I'm going to come back, and together we will weather this thing. Now just leave the camera on, and yeah. So got some big plans for this thing. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, we got our grips done, but I got a lot of work to do on those grips. But wow, that's kind of hefty. So they fit like a glove, but again, I have a lot of work to do on these. But I am going to start weathering this gun right now. We're going to do that. Get this off of here. So I printed these solid, completely solid. I wanted them more girth on there, so there those are. And so yeah, start doing us some weathering. And then I gotta maybe go into Fusion 360 or Autodesk and see if I can manufacture a stand for this. We'll see. Alright, first thing we're going to use is some weathering powder. You see that rusty colored weathering powder right there? That's it. And this stuff is a dream to work with. Just use a brush. This is my weathering brush. You see it's red. The most important thing, though, is to make sure that we just don't get carried away with it. Like, I'm not particularly fond of this area right here. Looks like some damage. So, take this and we will... And this weathering powder can be sprayed over as well. You start to get that look. But now that I'm looking at it, it looks like we should probably just go all the way around. Like maybe it's some heat, residual. You start to see. And our weathering powder doesn't wipe off. Once you work it in, it'll stay. I guess if you scrubbed it, it might. But what's nice is it will get locked in when you put a dull coat over this. So that's kind of nice. We'll just work this here. Oh, you know, also, hold on. we also have our rubbing buffs. So we have an ebony, an antique gold, a silver, and a gold leaf. We'll be using some of those. I'm not exactly sure how much or where, but we are going to use that. Let me see if I can get you guys in here where you can watch me. Right there, maybe. Now, I haven't looked at any screenshots at all of this gun. I don't know. But I know it's a very futuristic cannon. And I like to think a cannon like this was not meant to be holstered at all. So I'm going to guess it was used a lot. So we're going to put some weathering on here as if it has been through the ringer and back. And we'll just plug along on this. Yeah. Break it down in these little vented areas here. All right. And now let's see. If we're gonna I like to work one side at a time. See that? And then I can work the top and then the front and all the way around. Because it's weathering. So, you know, what do you call that? What's a hoi polloi? Perfection and imperfection. I believe that's Japanese. And then I want to and again, if I get carried away with this, I have the ebony rubbing buff where I can kill some of what I don't want, but so far I have no complaints. Pretty good. These weathering powders are delightful. So I'm going to do my weathering powders first and then come back with my rubbing buff. And then I still have to address these screws. They have to be countersunk. And then we will do that also. The grips go here, like so. So I don't need to worry too much about anything under here. So I use these weathering powders on every model that I do that may require it, such as military tanks, airplanes. I didn't use any on the Han Solo blaster. Probably wasn't thinking about it. But, yeah. Pretty dang good. So now we'll do the backside here. And then, not much. Just a little coating here and there. Nice. And you can just keep layering this stuff. It just layers really nicely. So if you want something a little, just put it on a little heavier if you need to. But you don't want to do it everywhere. You kind of want that inconsistency. Because remember, the body of the gun is already black, so you already got plenty of black there. It's relaxing. This is very relaxing. And I am going to put a dull coat over this because I just think dull coat is a very, very nice, subtle, protective finish. And also hides a lot of imperfections, whereas gloss of any kind will really amplify your imperfections as far as imperfections inside the print itself. And just keep working. It's not a race. Keep looking forward to the end product. You'll know it when you see it. You know how much you want to go on it. I think I want to make this one a little heavier here. Pretty dang good, if I say so myself. All right. These guys need to be a little bit more corroded. Alright. Now, what do I do next? Before I get to the rub and buff, let me countersink these holes. And I think I changed my mind on the screws I wanted to use. I don't want to use Phillips head, so I'll be right back. Okay, I got some different screws. These are hex head. You can see that. Gosh, can you see that? Those are for countersinking, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to try one of these out. Try one of these out here. And then before I screw these in, we're going to weather them with some rub and buff. So, first things first. Where is my tool? That can't be it. I don't think so. Wow. Yeah, it is. Nice. Okay, there's that. All right. It's a countersink bit right there. That's what we're going to use. So let's do it. Don't go through your finger. Not bad. This guy right here too. Nice. That was bad. Slow down, Kev. All right. Those are all countersunk now. So, yeah. So let me take a little black here. You see how I went through the color there? Take a little of this black here. Just a little of the black rub and buff. And let's work it in there. Nice. Okay. Okay. There's that. There. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm going to use a little more of that black rub and buff on some of these flatter areas, just a little bit. And then we're going to come back with some different colors. Yeah, it'll work. It'll work fantastic. Nice. Okay. Let's do these heads on here. We're going to do these in antique gold. And maybe that'll be the closest thing that I have to simulate brass. A little bit of this goes a long way. Something on there that I don't want on there. There you go. Let's put one of these in. Well, let's not, because I actually want to do a little silver around these holes here. Finishy screws up here. Nice. Now, I got some of this on here, so what do you say we just polish up some of these pieces like as if they were worn brass, you know? Like along the top of here. I'm still using the antique gold. Yeah, need some more of that. Oh, you know what would be brass and worn out maybe? Is the trigger. That's my guess. It's just my guess. And maybe some up on the barrel here. Sorry if you guys are not always in frame. I apologize. That's what we're looking for right there. Yeah. Like I said, this is very relaxing, and all right. Let's switch colors now. You know what? No. Let's do this a little bit more up here. Because I think that would be that's a lot. All right. Let's move on to the silver. Make sure you rotate your rag. Otherwise, you know what? I should probably put this on with a brush. Let me get a brush. All right, got myself a little brush. And again, a little bit of this goes a long, long ways, so maybe we should work from the cap here. Yeah, because let's condition our brush here. So let's start back around this hole here. And then start along this edge here. And I would imagine yeah, a little bit of that goes a long way. Alright, now that I got this screw here done, well, I'm not quite done yet. That would be mailing it in, right? Yeah. And we can come back and do some rubbing on that. Now we start to get it done there. See, around this screw hole here. Tear it up. That rubbing buff is really nice. All right. By the way, sometimes it's okay to use your fingers. I know I do. Nice. All right. Yeah, a lot of rails up here that we can get to. That's for sure. So let me say we just bring this along like so. There we go. Move on to this side now. I've exhausted everything in that cap. So let me just add a little more to it. Oh yeah. Here we are. Nice. Nice. I do want to do a little more of the red right here, though. Restore what I may or may not have rubbed off with a rub and buff. All right. Yeah, that looks good for the camera, which means it really looks good for my eye. So yeah, let's work the handles now. Oh, while we're here, let's put those screws in. So I have the long ones here. Well, they're cosmetic, so they're going to require a little glue, more so than anything. Little CA goes a long way. Okay. Our screws. Beautiful. All right. Now, for now, well, I still got to do some silver down here. You know what? I'm going to rub and buff this entire thing to make it silver. And the rub and buff will stay. That's too much, Kev. Now let's buff it. like that. So there's that. Let's work on the handles there, okay? They're going to require some sanding. Sure. Okay. I'm going to take a break and get organized. All right. Now, let's take our black rubbing buff here and rag. Oh, that's just rubbing buff these entire handles here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover these things completely with the rubbing buff, and then we're going to come back and hit them again with the sandpaper. I just got this yoga mat, and I want to try to protect it as long as possible. It makes a great work surface, so I'll try to keep the stains off as much as I can for now anyway. This rub and buff kind of reminds me of shoe polish. It actually smells like shoe polish. Chances are, I'm sure. Many of the ingredients are the same. Yeah, because this is a paste wax. All right. So we will buff now. And then that stuff burnished into that fake 3D printed grain there. All right. Set that one aside for now. And we have one more to do. Okie dokie. Come back when we're done here, and we're going to hit this with a Scotch-Brite pad to really burnish that in. Let's see what effect we have. All right. So our handles are looking at right now, but let's keep moving on them because my hands are not dirty enough. Okay. All right, if I was a piece of Scotch-Brite, where would I hide? Where would I hide? I just had that. Here we go. Here we go. Yellow's the color that we're going to be using. All right. Yeah, you got a little bit of rubbing buff, huh? There's what it used to look like. Voila. Now, let's see if we can burn some of this weathering powder into here. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pleased with that or not. I don't know if I'm happy with that. Let me think about that for a minute. Alright. I took some acrylic paint and just to sample it. I wanted to give it a little of a brown-red color. I think I did that. Well, my hands are really filthy. Anyway, let's put these on. So, they're going to be glued and screwed. As you can see, we have holes here for screws. And holes in our handles. Right there. So this one goes on like that. Slide it forward. So this one goes on like that. Slide that forward. Yeah. What do you think, guys? Does it look like wooden handles to you? Certainly does to me. So yeah, there you are. Okay, let's source some screws. You know what? I think I can use these wooden ones, because I'm not going to see them on these wooden ones. I say that, I mean these Phillips head one. Alright, so we're not going to need much glue here. So, here, there, there. One by each finger. Alright. Slide that forward. Nice. Come on. Oh, beautiful. Let's go around to this side. Okay. Something's fighting me tooth and nail here. I see it. Nice. This one has to go, yeah, forward just a little. There we go. All right, what do you say we clean up a little bit? We'll come back and have a good look at that. Well, I must say that was a fun project. Again, I have to see if I can design a stand for this prop. By the way, very substantial. If I had to guess, maybe 18 ounces. I haven't weighed it. Feels about 18 ounces. Again, I printed most of this at 60% infill, and these grips were printed at 100% infill, so completely solid. But yeah, I think that looks like a wooden handle to me, a wooden grip anyway. Yeah, so wow, very nice, very cool. So yeah, I've enjoyed this project here. This was fun. Very, very cool. Now, guess I'll have to get started. Oh, I should disclose. This is about 47 hours of printing. 21 pieces, about 47 hours. Maybe next time I'll, show a little bit more of the printing, but that's kind of boring. I think the fun thing is the weathering of the prop itself, because anybody can 3D print. But, you take a few techniques and tips to weather your sidearm or your prop, and then, wow, it looks pretty dang good. All right, well, that's been my, assembly and weathering of the Blade Runner hand cannon. M44, I believe it is. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hollow Wolf out.